Hello there and welcome to another video. My name is Jimmy Wikman, and in this video I'm going to give you a little bit of an update on where I'm at with my book that I have been writing. So if you're not aware of what book I'm referring to, it is the Advanced Atlassian Administration Guidebook, which will be basically a handbook or my best tips and tricks, my views on how to be an Atlassian administrator of all the various different roles. And this is a book that I've been writing now for about a year, or rather I started a year ago. This year I started a new job, which was an exciting new role as an Atlassian architect. And because it is always fun to join a new company, there are some challenges with that one, and it took a little bit more time than I actually was anticipating. And in April, I pretty much came to a standstill with my book as my father passed away, and I had to delve into all of the things that follows when a relative passes away. I'm the only son, and means that I have to deal with all the paperwork, fix funerals and all of that kind of things. So that one drained me a little bit of energy, so I haven't really had the time or the energy to actually write as much as I would like to. But I am in phase 2 at the moment, and I'm going to go into phase 3 of the book. So let me explain what I mean with phase 1, 2 and 3. So in phase 1 it was basically getting the idea out and starting to just throw some text on a piece of paper and see where it goes. And then in phase 2 that I started last year before the summer, basically, that one was I moved everything over to Confluence, and I'm now writing the entire book on Confluence. And I have focused now on trying to actually get some content done, and I have invited people to actually help me criticize me, inspire me, give me feedback on the content that I'm creating. And I refer to them as muses. And it is from the Greek, of course, when the muses were the goddesses of inspiration. Well, not goddesses, but they inspired a little bit at least. And in phase 2, I have basically completed the introduction chapter. I feel that this one is good enough now to actually be reviewed and to get some feedback on. I have some content that I want to add to it already, and I'm obviously creating tasks for it in Jira, so I know what I'm supposed to do with the book. But now in December, I'm moving into phase 3. I feel that I'm in a good place now, mentally and energy-wise. My health is okay, and I'm doing good, and I feel a little bit creative again. So I'm going to open up for 5 new muses. So the first 5 was locally in Sweden. The purpose for that one was so I could actually meet them. So I have people that I know and that I respect their opinions and things like that. And now I'm opening up for 5 new positions. So 5 more people will actually join. So one person I've already introduced into the book and let her in to actually have access to it. And the reason for that one is that she was a muse before I even had that program. So I had that one on my website first. So that means I have 4 more positions now to give out, and the reason why I'm not giving out a gazillion ones is basically they cost money to add new users to Confluence, and I'm not a wealthy man, so I need to tread lightly with the finances on that one. But in total there will be 15 people, so in April next year I hope that I will start phase 4, which will then mean that I will bring in other 5 people. And that will probably be the last batch that I will bring in. So in total I will have 15 people then that will actually be able to provide information for me. And as a compensation for that one, I will add them in the book. So they will actually not just be mentioned, but I will have an entire section for presenting them and writing about their contributions and how they helped make the book there. They will not be co-writers in that sense, but they will be inspired people that have helped me to actually drive this book forward. So if you're one of those people that think that you have the time and the energy to read a bunch of text, because it's going to be a fairly big book, then feel free to reach out to me and request to join. And just to show you a little bit of what I'm actually doing, let me just show you Confluence and show you what I'm doing there. So this is my Confluence, and you have access to certain parts of this. So everything that is open is publicly available. So you can actually see this page, and you can see every of the chapters here have an information section, and you can see also the progress basically on every chapter. And if I go into each of these, you will see also the progress. This is what the users will actually see. So this is the content, and this is, you can see I have a few notes here, things that I want to add. And everyone have a discussion topic that will take you to my forum, so you can actually continue the discussion, or my users will actually be able to do that. And these are the sections that I'm currently working with. So the introduction will be basically why am I writing this, and also who am I, basically. And it also sets the tone a little bit. So for example, your users are incompetent, and not an offense to anyone who uses Jira or Confluence. It is more from an administration point of view that you need to be aware that a lot of people think that they know a lot of the tool because they have used it, and that is not the same as understanding what the tool actually do. So I'm going to add, for example, a section that describes an experiment that was made where people were giving a bunch of ordinary things that you have every day. So a zipper, you had a toilet, and they were to grade themselves. How much do you understand how this actually works? And most of the people graded themselves fairly high, 8 or 9 on a 1 to 10 scale. And then when they got the next step, which was then describe, for example, how water comes up in the water tank on the toilet, and they realized, I don't know actually how that works. Or how does it work? How can water actually flow out of the toilet, and how is it that it's not getting stuck anywhere? They realized that I have no clue how this works. I don't know really how the teeth in the zipper actually connects and why they do what they do. Why is it working the way it is? And this is kind of the same thing. It's easy when you have clicked and you have created tickets and you know all the configurations that is in the front part of Jira, for example. That doesn't mean that you understand what actually happens. If you ask a user, how does this report work, for example, or why can you not have multiple assignees? What happens in the backend? Then people can't really answer that one. Or do you understand the complexity of what happens if you want to use story points and someone else wants to use time, for example? How do you build reports on both teams? Then they get lost about it a little bit. And as soon as you dig into things like governance and how security works, then they realize that I don't really know that much about Jira. So that's what this one is a little bit about. I also dig a little bit into like it is more complex than you think to actually be an administrator, but you're also more competent than you think, and you have more skills perhaps than you actually realize. So I'm trying to build kind of the overall tone of the book right at the first part. And then in the roles part, this is where we actually break down the many roles. We have a bunch of different roles, because when you see administrator, that means so many things. And there are so many things that are connected to that one. You can be a developer, you can be a platform owner, you can be a support agent. Many things are called administrator. In this section, I go over a little bit what those roles actually mean and how you can think about them. And I have this one specifically also to make sure that, because It is not uncommon that as an Atlassian administrator you get a little bit squeezed. You get one position and you thought it was this, and then you realized, oh, I have to do all of that, and that can be a little bit of a tricky situation. So expectations and responsibility, how do you handle those? Also, what happens if you turn up to be or you end up being in a toxic environment, for example, when you're getting thrown under the bus constantly by managers or co-workers or even customers. And also, how can you grow if you start as a junior, for example, and you want to become a platform owner or maybe even owning the entire tool set? What are the paths that you can take, and what kind of skills do you actually need to have for that? In the strategy part here, we talk about, or I talk more about how to work with strategies. What are strategies? I talk a little bit about user adoption also, because it's not so easy just to create strategies. It is very difficult actually to get people to accept your policies and your strategic plans. But I'm also talking about what are they, what kind of documents do you need to have, and what kind of plans should you have regardless of where you are. You should probably have certain plans and policies in place. Next part will be the governance part, and in this sentence or in this context, governance here means then the access management and security management, but also the change management. How do you roll out new changes or new policies and things like that? How do you define new standards, for example, without pissing everyone off? And what do you do if you accidentally piss everyone off? We've all been there, I think. Standard configuration will walk you through my standard configurations, basically. So everything from workflows to, so you will actually have it. Why do we want to have standards, and how should we work with them? The different abstract layers of, for example, ways of working. I have also in the Dark Secrets, I have one where you actually talk about process layers and the different, because a lot of people, for some reason, don't understand that a process or a workflow is actually a part of a hierarchy of things. So when I say, are you on level 3 or level 4 in the process, then people look at me like I'm insane because they have no clue what that means. So I'm also having that one in there, so you understand that the way of working is a multi-level product. And I also talk a little bit about things like how do you configure things in Jira or in Guard, for example. What are my recommendations for security? What are my recommendations for workflows, for example? Change workflow that is very common but very difficult to make, because in ITSM you do 3 different paths for it. How do you get that one into one workflow without it becoming cumbersome? Documentation also, a little bit on why do we document, what should we document. A lot of people that come from an agile background, they don't like documentation much, or they think that it's unnecessary and take time. And I'm trying to give you kind of a balance there and saying that there are certain things that you need to document, and that is not just for the tools perspective, but you can have legal compliance issues if you don't. It is also connected to the change process. So different things, different decisions, for example, that could come from within the organization on how you should work needs to be documented, so you can actually use that one later on if something happens. Because you can actually, as you are the owner of a work tool that most people will actually use on a daily basis, if you configure that one so it becomes difficult to work, it will affect the company quite a bit. And if someone makes a decision that you do not agree with, that becomes kind of a technical debt for you, and you need to document that one. And that is for your own sake, and so you don't actually get into trouble later on. And you also need to know, how do I document decisions, integrations, and things like that. And I'm also going to give you a little bit of a hint of how you can use assets for documentation, depending on if you have asset or not. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about support and education. How do you handle support? My best suggestions and tips for how to set this one up in your service management, for example, if you have that. And also, this is also connected a little bit to the strategies there for your communication pathways and stuff like that. And then in Dark Secrets, I'm not going to show you what I actually have in there. These are the darkest secret that you can possibly have that no one will ever tell you unless you are in a dark room. And it's only you and the other person there who will tell you things like, what should we bring up as an example, for example? Could be that, oh no, I'm not going to spoil it. It will be a surprise for you. And then in the appendix, this is where we'll have the contributions and honorable mentions. So this is where we'll have our muses will actually be shown. So this is where I'm working, and this is also where I'm trying now to get back to. I've been focusing a little bit on my website here. So this, for example, this is my website, and on the content here, community, you have the forums. And this is now where we are actually having the discussion. So at the bottom here, we have the advanced Atlassian Guidebook forum. So there's one part that is open that you can join at any time, and you can ask questions, you can inspire me, you can toss ideas that you think should be in the book. And then we have one that is for the muses. So this is why we actually have divided them per chapter, where we discuss things and basically hanging out for the purpose of getting their feedback into the book. And this is also where all the, you see here, we have the open discussions here. So every link then from every chapter that you have here actually goes into the forum, so we can actually discuss it there. And if you are interested, you can also see that in the A3 Guidebook, we have the blog here. So this is where I'll post some information about it if you are interested in seeing what I'm actually working on or the progress of things. Let's see, and in the website here, this one will actually have basically a summary of everything. So that's what is happening now on the forums and on the website. And I've also recently added now, so the muses here, these are the people that are currently helping me, and they are now presented here on my staff directory. So this is me, obviously, these are the muses. I've also added now the champions that are here on my website, so they get extra recognition for being awesome. So the idea here now is that in December now, I will kick off phase 3 and bring in 5 new people that will help me become muses that will be introduced into they will have access now to the full access to Confluence. They will have their position on my website, obviously. And we will also try now in January and February, we will have some online meetings and discuss different chapters. And for those here in Sweden, I will see if I can actually bring some people out for lunch or having like a discussion session or something like that, just so they can give me proper feedback. And if you want to be a part of that one, you have the opportunity still. And if you want to join, the proper way to go then is to go to the forums. You go down here and you'll have, do you want to join as a muse in phase 3? And here you have it then. And the information. How do I do it? So you can just go in here, you can follow this one, and you can comment just like Cass did here, and I will actually select the people that I would like to work with and bring you in. And you will also on my website, maybe I can show that too. Who should we take? Praveen, perhaps? I'm actually giving out badges here also for so you can actually earn your badges. So it will actually show the contributions that you actually make on the forum. If I go to me, maybe I can show what it looks like when you have a little bit more. So I have a few more, so you can see that you can also get Atlassian specific ones for Asset Expert, for example. These can be awarded. So let me swap back. So that was a little bit of an update. It has been a little bit of a difficult year to actually get content into the book. I'm taking a few weeks of vacation now over the holidays, and next year I hope that I will be able to commit more to writing in the book. So the goal was to have it ready in April next year. That is obviously not going to happen, so I'm aiming more for at the end or after the summer to the end. So Q3 to Q4 next year is where the book should be done. So it's just a matter of committing to it. So that was the update for my book. I hope that you found it informative, and if you're interested in getting a copy of the book later on, that one will be available. I have no idea how I'm going to distribute it yet. Digitally, obviously, and then maybe I will see if I can publish it on Amazon or something like that. We'll see. That will be next step in phase 5. So that was it for this update. The only thing that remains for me to say now is the same as always. I hope you have a great day and an awesome week.